I'm Elle Edwards, the Mindset Geek from GoToElle.com, and welcome back. Now, if you have been following along all month long, you will know the focus for October has been on writing books or any big project that you want to focus on and get done. It is week 4. Would you believe it? Week 4. At the end of this week, we'll only have a couple more days and it will be November the 1st. So week 4. Now, all of this week, the focus is going to be on preparing your environment. Now, what I don't mean by that, is I'm not suggesting you're going to go around and start recycling everything. And I'm not talking about how you're going to spend the week saving the planet, although both of those are very valuable things to do. Not saying that they're not. However, what I'm talking about within the context of this week's episodes is how you can prepare your environment around you, the space where you are going to be writing. Or, because remember, I've told you, all of this stuff applies to any big goal. Wherever it is that you're going to be working on your big goal or project, whether that be books or something else, how can you best prepare the space around you and the people in the space around you to make yourself in the best position possible for success? That's what we're going to be digging into all of this week. Now today, this very first episode in this week, not first episode ever, in this first episode of this week's focus on preparing your environment, I want to remind you to watch your language. Now what I mean by that is the very best way and to give you the best chance of success, having made the decision that you are going to write in November and get this thing done. The very next best thing, the best piece of advice I can give you is to tell the people that you live with. So if you, husband, wife, partner, children, roommates, parents, whoever, whatever context you are in, unless you live completely on your own, fine, you've got nobody to prepare, you can skip on to the very next episode, that's fine. However, if there are people who you choosing to write 1,000 or so words every day might have an impact on, the best thing you can do is to tell those people that this is what you are doing. Tell them how excited you are. Tell them why you're choosing to do this project. You remember we talked about your why twice now. We are going to talk about it one more time before this series comes to an end. But explain to them why you want to do this thing and how excited you are. Get them on board with that idea of you writing your book or whatever project it is you are doing, how important it is and why it is a benefit to you, possibly to them and even to the wider world. But I want to caution you and remind you to watch your language. Now, I mentioned this very briefly in the Mindset Minute, but we're going to dig into it just a little bit more and explain what I mean by that. Because particularly as women, but I imagine the guys do this too, but particularly as women, when we talk to people about the thing that we're doing and we either want something from somebody else or we want somebody else's understanding, we tend to approach it a little bit apologetically. I'm really sorry, darling, but I'm not going to be able to keep the house quite as clean for the next month. I really need to focus on my book. I really got to get writing. I really have to do this thing. Yeah, we approach it almost as if, oh no, poor me, I've got this thing I've got to do and I'm really sorry, but yeah. And unfortunately, that impacts the way that you feel about the project, but also can have an impact on the way they feel about the project too. So I want to encourage you and remind you that you are choosing to write your book for all of the reasons that you've outlined already. If you have done the exercise that I've encouraged you to do twice now, this is your third reminder. If you have done that exercise where you've explored why you want to do the thing you want to do, yeah, you will have perfectly valid and really empowering reasons why you want to do that thing. Why on earth would you go to your nearest and dearest and couch it in this language of apology? There's really no need. You have some really good, valid reasons for wanting to do this, even if it's simply to scratch an itch. I make no apologies about the fact that's why I wrote my first book, because I talked about it for so long. I just thought, well, do you know what? I'm just going to do it, because unless I try, I won't know whether I even like this process or not. So that's perfectly valid. Whatever reasons you've got for wanting to write your book, explain those. Say to your loved one or your nearest and dearest, hello, darling. I'm not suggesting that you suddenly turn into a Victorian person who says, hello, darling. But I'm just teasing you. But speak to them and say, look, next month, I am choosing to do this thing. I am choosing to do this for these reasons. I'm really excited about it. And approach it from I've chosen to, I get to, I want to, I am ready to. These are much more empowering words, and it's a much more positive way for you to approach the experience. Now that does two things. Not only does it prime them, it gets them prepped and ready. So, if there are things around the home that you normally do, and I'm not being sexist, it is the 21st century. My husband is far better at cooking than I am. I am hopeless. I burn everything. I have burnt pasta, I think 3 times now, mostly because I get distracted. I go off and do something else and I forget about it. This is the 21st century. Please don't think I'm saying that it's your job to do all these tasks around the home. But if you live with other people, there are certain things that they probably have got used to you doing. The context of that will vary from person to person. It might be that in order to get your book written, you need to let some of those things slip a little bit. You're not going to do them all. It's fine. It's not forever. You're choosing to let go of some expectations so you can focus on your book. So by talking to them about it, by preparing them ahead of time, it won't be a great big shock to them, and they'll be like, oh yeah, cool, that's fine. I can live with that. Or they might even go, well, I can do that. And suddenly you've let go of a task, particularly if it's one you didn't like very much. Woohoo, double win. But the other thing that it does, by talking about it in this positive language, it prepares your brain too. And it's reminding your brain that this stuff is important to you and why. And I've talked to you already before about the reticular activating system and how the stuff that your brain thinks is important, it will filter it in. So these reminders, using that positive language around that writing experience, it will remind your brain that writing and a positive experience around writing is an important thing for you. And so it will help filter in more examples of the same. So it's actually a double win. There's 2 reasons why it's really good to do this. And if you say, I just bit my tongue again. Sorry, that's not very attractive, is it? If you're listening to the podcast version of this, you'll be really glad that you're not watching the video because I just pulled a face. But just to wrap this up, because I was almost finished before I bit the side of my tongue, typical, I would encourage you, if you haven't already had that conversation with the people that you live with the people around you, I would encourage you to do that today or over the next couple of days. Do it this week before November starts, and remember to do it in a positive, frame it with positive language. You are choosing to do this. You get to do this. It's an exciting, wonderful, empowering thing that you are doing. Okay? Excellent. Go and do it. Get that conversation done and do it positively. And remember, rentaboss.uk if you want to join us and have some support and community and your Mindset Geek to help you as you do it. In the meantime, thank you for watching. I've been Elle from GoToElle.com. I look forward to catching up with you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.